Okie dokie. So, so we have, as you know, I'm going to use these same numbers that I found, about a year ago. They may not be entirely accurate, but it's going to be ballpark. On average, 20 to 40% profit for owners of companies and businesses. This means that when you're working, you're maybe being paid 90% of what your work is worth. When you're buying, you're maybe paying 110% of what the product is worth. So, this is anywhere from 80 to 90, and this is anywhere from 110 to 120, right? So what we say is, I'm going to show you what idiocy is. It's idiocy and insanity. Insanity, okay? So here's what we say. We have a company making, 20 to 40% profit. 40% of profit, right? And, we say, taxes, if you're poor, you pay 0. So it's anywhere in this range. So this is, the 40% tax is like excess of 20 million per year per person. So if you're paying 40% taxes, you're earning 20 million per year per person. So that's very rare, that people actually pay that much, right? So what we say is, the guy who's earning 20 to 40% profit, we want to give him, a 20% tax break. And then we get, a 5% tax break. And now I can say I'm a Republican. Does that make sense? So over the tax breaks that have been given, in the last 20 years, 80% of the tax break, of the money given back as tax breaks, was given to the top 1% of all earners. So it is literally a ratio of 4 to 1 in favor of wealthy. Okay, so when you are voting for Republican tax breaks, you are giving 4 wins to the wealthy in exchange for 1 win for yourself, when they are already keeping 20 to 40% of profit, of all work for themselves, right? So this is a 20 to 40%, profit for the companies themselves, right? So welfare for sick, disabled, is approximately, 1% of all work done. For about, things like 8% of the population were disabled. Last time I checked, I don't remember what it's like. I think it was like 20 million disabled. So 20 over 33 million. 6%. For about 6% of the population. Okay, so profit for wealthy is about 30% of all work for about 1% of population. So you're just looking at these statistics. 30% of the work that's being done is being given directly to this top 1% of the population. Okay, 1% of the work being done is being given to the disabled. So if I'm being logical, if I am being honest, what is the problem financially for people? Is it the taxes on 1% welfare for 6% of population? Or is it the 30% of all work profit kept for 1% or less of population? Okay, so it's about 30 times the impact that this obsession with this profit-driven economics, impact of profit-driven economics on financial hardship of the average American is about 30 times the impact of the welfare taxes on the average American. Okay, so let's see. So that's about what is, let me see. So let's get the calculator on my, so 1 over 30, let's do, what's 1 over 30 is, 0.1 over 3. So 0.0, 1 over 30, 0.1 over 3. So 0.1 divided by 3, so 0.033 over 1. So it's about 3.3%. 3.3% of the financial hardship, on average American is welfare. Okay, 96, 0.7% of economic hardship on the average American is profit for owners of companies and taxes for military and roads and police. So this is the actual statistics. Welfare for sick and disabled is about 3.3% of the financial hardship. 96.7% of the financial hardship is profit for owners and companies and taxes for military and roads and police. All right, so keep going here. Okay, so the average amount of taxes paid for Americans who earn less than 40K per year is about 8% tax. Okay, so profit kept from work and sales is about 30%. So if you're looking at, what is the ratio, so it's about a ratio of 30, in the private sector. So this is negative consequences for the workers. It's skewed about 30 to the private sector, about 8 for the government taxes. Okay, so it's about 3.5. So private sector has 3 times, more than 3 times as much negative impact on financial hardship for workers. So, you think this tax break is helping the workers, you're insane. Okay, that's going to help them by, let's say we put this down to 7 or 6. That's a 2%. What if let's cut down the profit to here? That's 5 times as much. So you cut down the profit for the owners, So what Trump says is, we'll put this 8 down to a 6. Well, what I say is we're going to put the 30 down to a 20. So it's 5 times as much help for the workers. 5 times as much help, right? So the idea, it's not like you think that this is better, because what you're seeing is you're going to see the taxes for these workers go from 8 to about 6. You're going to see the taxes for the companies go from 40 to about 20. So, you have about a 2% for the workers, you have about a 20% for the wealthy. Okay, so it's about a ratio of about 10 to 1 in favor of wealthy with Republican, tax law. This is about the difference. 10 to 1 in favor of the wealthy with Republican tax law. Right? So if you're just looking at it from a statistical aspect, it's, the Republican tax breaks are not better for the poor than the, the reallocation of wealth through welfare given to the citizens by taxing the high profit of the companies. So what we say is, why take money from these people who are super smart? It will make them angry, and they will try to kill us. All right, so what we say is, if we tax wealthy, they will try to kill us. So this is one argument. So let me explain it this way. See, this one guy, he made 12 million last year. So if you turn this to a 10, does he suddenly want to commit genocide? So he can literally, in 1 year, he can pay for the lives of 5 people, for about 80 years, for every 1 year that he works. This guy, he works for 1 year, he can pay for 5 people their entire lives, for every year that he works. So if he goes from 12 to 10, does he care? If it goes to 8, does he care? 6, 4? This is per year. We're talking per year. 2, 0. He doesn't care because he earned 12 million last year. You could cut his entire salary entirely. He wouldn't care because he's worked for 5 years. He has 50 million in the bank. So you could literally, he could be earning negative profit and he still wouldn't be angry. Okay? So it's crazy to think. It's really, really weird logic. Okay? So, you have a system where we say we maybe pay $200 less in taxes every year, and then these big companies will pay 2 trillion less in taxes every year. So, it's about, historically it's a ratio of about 5 to 1. So you have 2 divided by 5 is the same as, 4 over 10. So, 400, 4 times 5, 20. So you have about 400 billion in tax breaks for the average worker. And then you have 2 trillion in tax breaks for the extremely wealthy, for the extremely wealthy. Okay, so if you look at the other plan, we're going to spend about 2 trillion, on guaranteed income for all workers, for all citizens. Right? So you get rid of this. You're choosing, this is the You know, this is the Republican choice. You know, this is the Democratic choice. So it's about, you know, the Democratic choice favors the average worker by a ratio of 5 to 1. Right. So this idea that, you know, this opposition to the Democratic policy comes from the idea that we think if we tax the wealthy, you know, that they will try to kill us, like Hitler killed the Jews. You know, if we tax the wealthy. So this is the logic for why we don't want to do it. It's not because we think the Republican policy is better for us. You know, it's because we're afraid that they will try to kill us like Hitler killed the Jews. Right. So let me tell you what influences, you know, whether I'm going to try to hurt someone if I'm an intelligent, capable human being. Okay. So, you know, I have enough money to live, you know, in a bunker, you know, with armed, you know, that is impenetrable, you know, that is breakable, you know, for 900 billion years. You know, but I don't want to pay more taxes for welfare. You know, I want another 100 billion from Trump. So this is what is kind of happening, right? So it's like these are the people that we're trying to tax more. Is these people that can literally can have everything they want for about 900 billion years. Some of them, you know, more. Right? So you know, these are the people we're talking about taxing. You know, we're not talking about taxing, you know, the small startup business owner and things like this. So that's insane, right? So this is kind of the reality of the situation. You have about 3.3% of financial hardship because of welfare programs. You have about 96.7% of the hardship due to high profit, you know, driven owners of the companies and taxes for military, roads, and police forces.